Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Today I'm going to give you my heads up on the best gun in Nightingale. Yes, it's the Winchester. I won't make you waste too much time if you don't want to, but obviously you want to hear why and how I rate the other guns and the path or order that you should unlock and craft them, as well as explaining thoroughly what they do using all the same materials. I crafted all 8 guns and this is what I came up with. Also going to give you the lowdown on all the augmentations you'll need to craft them, as well as how to unlock all the different elemental ammo types. And no exploits here. This will be probably better for people once the exploit bug gets fixed on weapons. So the lowdown, you'll only have access to 3 guns before you get to the watch. One's a rifle, one's a pistol and one's a shotgun. Once you get to the watch, you'll then be able to go ahead and unlock 2 more rifles, 1 more shotgun and 2 more pistols. I did do a video showing you how to get the early guns and explain some of that stuff. But today I'm using exactly the same materials for all 8 guns to give you a base rundown of their damage, their range damage, and which ones are ultimately going to be better, depending on your playstyle. So you've got the chase pot rifle, you've got the Lancaster pistol, and you've also got the bore shotgun. To my mind, without doubt, the pistol is your best option in the early game. It does fire 4 shots only, but it's still a lot of shots compared to the rifle or the 1 bullet shotgun. Both of them take quite a while to reload. So in this instance, I think the pistol is your best option, especially as well when you be going through a lot of the realms like the swamp. You definitely want to have a one-handed weapon, so you've always got a hand on either a healing item or possibly your umbrella. Again, that also implies when you start taking on some of the bosses and creatures, and you can be yeeted quite a bit. Pistol does have a really rapid fire shot as well, where it will unleash all 4 bullets at once, so this can do massive damage if you get up close, and it's comparable to a shotgun shot. Surprisingly though, it doesn't have as good a range as the shotgun. Rifles are good, and being able to hit creatures at a lot of distance can be really beneficial, especially when there's groups of them and you're playing on high difficulties in the early game. But I still think there's something to be said for maneuverability. You can still dodge out the way with a pistol. And especially with this gun, the way that it fires its special shot, you're not going to lose too many bullets, as they are pretty reliable in how they hit and where they go. Until you get access to some of the late game materials, which are like level 230, your best material is to make this out of Pursuit. Pursuit should be level 100 to go ahead and mine. Otherwise, craft more guns if you come across better ores with range damage, and that's what you're really looking for here, as well as maybe critical. Try and stick to making every component out of that same material. Don't try and save time by using something like tin or another iron or ore that doesn't have any actual range benefits. If you hit all 4 bullets with the Lancaster, you're going to be doing 700 damage, depending again on what you use to make it. It's true its critical damage isn't as good, so you might want to invest in some metals that give more of that, or make sure you've placed some charms that can give more critical damage on your gear. And its range is the worst out of the first 3 guns that you'll have access to. But I still think, comparatively, when you're firing against multiple enemies attacking at once, it's always better to have this pistol in the early stages. Don't get me wrong, if you go ahead and you go put in a lot of time and effort into upgrading your chasspot rifle, then yes, you're going to get very good range damage, and that critical hit at 3.5 with using all Pursuit stuff is pretty decent. But it's so slow to reload, and you'll just end up feeling like you might as well use a melee weapon, or you'll find that you can't dodge out the way as much. Of course, it has no special attack, instead you can use it as a melee weapon. A very poor melee weapon, I might add. The shotgun does do incredible damage, but as you can see, 1 shot is going to be equal to what you're already doing with the actual pistol. It does have the benefit of blocking efficiency, so if you're finding that you're always getting hit and you're regularly blocking, then you can use this as well instead of always your axe or your pickaxe. But with the critical damage not being that much higher than just a regular pistol, I still think this is definitely the 3rd gun along the choice, just because it's only got that 1 bullet. Lancaster you do pick up at the Forest Provisioner realm once you're talking to the Bass and to do that mission. You'll also get the rifle at the Swamp Provisioner, and you'll get the shotgun at the Desert Provisioner. And don't forget, you can pick up the Lancaster for free by completing the quest for Bass Reeves, as well as getting a refined workbench. And again, he's at the Forest Provisioner. Otherwise, you can just go and buy the gun from the other essence trader you'll find on that map. And when you get to the watch, you're given actually a decent pistol that I think is probably just about in 2nd place, maybe 3rd. The Weebly revolver, you'll have that as a recipe that unlocks for completing parts of the watch missions, which usually mean like either going through and doing 1 vault or handing over 25 tier 3 essence. So make sure you talk to every NPC in the watch. If you haven't got that recipe, double check. You might need the saddle rack to be placed down for the pistols to appear. And don't panic, I'm going to go through all the different unlocks in case you have missed out on my guns guide initially towards the end of this video. So you effectively get 2 pistols for free pretty much as a reward. You just need to go ahead and craft them. That's why it's not really worth investing too much in any of the other guns early on. However, once you get to the watch though, definitely get the Winchester. It can hold 14 bullets at a time compared to the 8 bullets that you have in the Lee Metford. It doesn't do as much damage per shot and it hasn't got as much crit, but the crit drop off isn't as severe as it is in the pistols. So yeah, you get 450 range damage with the Lee Metford, and that critical damage of 4 times can be really good. If you're really great at leading your shots and hitting exactly the weak points like the head or the heart shots, you'll be doing untold damage. But the slight delay in each shot as you chamber up the round, I don't think it's as good as the Winchester, even if it is more powerful. You can see the range damage is only about 75 below the Lee Metford with the Winchester, and the critical damage is only 0.8% lower than using the Lee Metford. So you're still getting the benefits of both with this gun, only slightly less than the Lee Metford, but you're getting a whole additional 6 extra bullets per reload. And simply put, that's why the Winchester is the best gun in the game. With that amount of damage per bullet, with that high crit, it just is going to be better than anything else you've got. Only slight annoyance is a bug at the moment where it will go into endless reload loop, so you have to literally press the reload button a bunch of times or maybe try firing the gun to get it to fix. And with 14 bullets, when you do go to reload, it is going to take a bit longer than maybe some of the other guns. With the 2-bore shotgun, yes, you're getting a lot of power, and certainly it's a lot better proposition than the original, and especially if you're getting up close. And again, it's still going to have slightly more range damage than you will get with a pistol. But still, as you would expect with a shotgun, with only 2 bullets in the chamber to fire, it just isn't going to be as good as some of the other guns. Depending on the situation though, if you're in close quarters inside some of the dungeons, then yes, fighting lots of bound, this is going to do some good stuff. But I do think that even the Winchester, you don't have to aim down the sights and it can still take on a whole plethora of enemies rather than just one big shot. The advanced shotgun, the 2-bore one, does have a special shot where it does unload both bullets at the same time as well. You just got to right click in just like you do with the pistols. So for certain bosses like the Eton Tree or maybe even the Sun God, if you can get close enough, it's a real good one. But what about the Porter Pistol, I hear you cry? Honestly, I nearly did put this as #1 gun. It has got an incredible amount of bullets. It can hold 14. It does do relatively decent damage. It doesn't have the range though of the Winchester. By late game, you're going to be fighting maybe much more advanced enemies if you're putting it on either the Ascended Realms or you're putting difficulty up to extreme. For me, that's when range starts to become more of an issue and you might need to keep your distance away from some enemies, especially bosses when you do vault runs. The Webley's a good gun. You do get given it for free, and so it kind of makes the Porter not something you really need, hence why you should focus on getting the Winchester. But for sure, if tier 3 essence is coming out with your ears, you definitely want to upgrade to the Porter Pistol versus the Webley. The Webley does 360 range damage, critical hit is pretty good at 2.8, and it has got 6 bullets it can fire or hold. It's also pretty rapid at reloading. But again, the Porter Pistol is only slightly lower with 300 range damage and critical damage of 2.2. So only a few points below, plus you're getting all them additional shots, another 8. Like I said, I used the same materials for all these guns. Some of them do rely on certain properties more, so you might need like leather more for one of them or more wood. But I did try and use exactly the same materials, which were pretty much all swamp wood level 4. And I only used tier 2 leather just to get a baseline stat rather than souped or duped as you might have seen from other guns recently before the patch is coming in. You won't necessarily be doing 1,000,000 damage with your shots anymore. So your progression path is absolutely get the Lancaster, go ahead and upgrade it. After that, if you really want to mess around with a rifle, do so. Ignore the shotgun. When you get to the watch, you'll be given the Webley. Absolutely go ahead, upgrade that since you've got the recipe or craft one, but I would still make my money and buy the Winchester as soon as possible. After that, I'd probably work on the Porter Pistol, then the shotgun, and finally the Lee Metford rifle. Once you unlock any of the watch guns, there's no point in trying to upgrade or make any of the base guns that you had. They're always just going to be lower. There's no real reason to use any of them either, or just make more new ones out of better materials. The baseline stats are still much lower. Of course, everything else can affect this. Like I said, the charms that you place on it, the gear that you've got, the score that you've got for critical hits. If you're someone that values being able to hit a great shot with critical, then you want to go for maybe the most powerful. But the Winchester really isn't that far behind a Lee Metford rifle, and both are better than any of the pistols. So how do you get the augmentations and how do you get all the different elemental ammos? Let's cover it. Okay, so to make obviously the watch guns, you are going to need the excellent bench to be able to craft them. All the other guns can be crafted at a refined workbench. You obviously need the refined masonry table to go ahead and craft the gunpowder. And you'll also need the simple saddle rack to craft any of the pistols as well as any of the bullets, including elemental bullets. You find the saddle rack at the Forest Astrolabe Essence Trader. For the shotguns, you're going to need the crude T set, which you can get from the Desert Antiquarian Essence Trader. And again, pretty much rehashing my first video, if you pick up the training dummy, this is where you can pick up a lot of the charms that work really well with your ranged weapons. So just don't forget the training dummy goes close to your enchanter's focus, as that's where you're going to be obviously making the charms. For the rifle, you're going to need the Desert Astrolabe to get the hold of the crude ammo box. FYI, the Jaunty Cycle, which you also get later on, can also be used for the cartridges for the shotgun. If you want lightning rifle bullets or revolver bullets, you need to go to an Ascended Provisioner Forest. For fire, it's Ascended Desert Provisioner. Again, only for revolver and the rifle. It's the Ascended Swamp Hunt if you want to get hold of the poison rifle as well as the buckshot. So you have all three bullet types here. This is the only realm that you got all three. Head to Ascended Desert Herbarium to get the fire buckshot as well as the ice rifle cartridges and ice revolver cartridges. And yeah, obviously I've covered where you get the revolver and the rifle ammo, what augmentation you need for the elemental stuff. But if you want the buckshot elemental, you're going to need the mounted creature skull. And you should be able to unlock that at the Swamp Astrolabe Essence Trader. And yeah, finishing off that the lightning buckshot can be bought from the Ascended Forest Herbarian Essence Trader. Hopefully that's helped. If it has, let me know. What gun have you gone for? Have you ignored me and done your own thing? Then let me know. Give me some good reasons about what your favourite gun is your favourite gun. And hopefully at least it's helped unlock all the elemental ammo types. Until next time, Ratbags, I'll catch you for more Nightingale guides. Laters.